Hello and welcome back to the channel. So I'm basing this video on something that annoys me a fair bit, which is a question phrased in different ways. One is, are you a real knife thrower, or are you at all a real knife thrower? Or why would a real knife thrower throw such and such implement? Or why would a real knife thrower be interested watching videos where somebody throws such and such implements? Right? So what is this real knife thrower? I'm going to dissect this as soon as the beeping stops. Yeah, sweet. So I'm going to dissect this. I'm going to dissect this by use of the humor of the broken English, which is basically when somebody able to speak more than one languages, they grab a word and they translate it down literally in the same situation or certain situations, and that creates humorous surroundings, okay, humorous ideas, and I really enjoy that. Nobody else around me understands what I'm talking about, which is fine, but in my head that's extremely funny. But then again, I do enjoy dead jokes, and not many people appreciate my efforts. So that's a kind of, let's call it a personal comedy, okay? Now, so we're going to dissect it by using broken English humor. But before we get to that, we need to establish a few things. Descriptions. What is knife throwing? Okay, so if you want the real or proper description, look it up in the dictionary. My description of knife throwing is having a target and turning it into different shapes and sizes of wood chips by repeatedly throwing certain, either one or multiple types of implements at it until the whole target turns into nothing more but wood chips. Now, second, who is a knife thrower? Now, again, there is a proper description of that. Let's go with mine. Now, a knife thrower is a person who throws one type of implement in one method, or multiple implements, multiple methods, or somebody who takes it very, very seriously and trains up for competitions, or somebody like me who just enjoys the fact of throwing. He just enjoys throwing different things like a backyard hobbyist, or a person who takes it to the max, to the highest level and becomes an impairment artist, or there's or a person who likes to who would wear periodic correct costumes or clothing, frontier type of clothing, and through periodic correct implements like the right shape, size, tomahawks, and knives in events like mountain men type of events. Or people or persons who exclusively and painstakingly research the history and historically correct bow shurikens, research and making them, and then research the throwing techniques or mechanism of how certain bow shurikens or shurikens were thrown. Now, this is the beauty of knife throwing. This is a huge or wide family. I mean, there's many, many, many sub groups within it. Okay. Now, the reality of most people don't belong to just one group. They will belong to many, if not all of the groups. So you can't really single out this or that or only this. Now, let's go back to our question, or the initial question. and I'm going to reflect it as upon me. Am I a real knife thrower? So first of all, the second part, knife thrower, I think I'm kind of qualifying within at least one of the groups. So then the whole sentence. Am I a real knife thrower? Okay. See the pose? Real knife thrower. Now, using the broken English method or analytical method, real would refer to, am I a real person? Yes, I am. When I accidentally cut myself, I bleed red just like everybody else. And also, let's be honest, currently, 2025, AI is not at the level to create somebody, I would love to say awesome, but I would rather say with somebody with such a sophisticated type of humor that I possess. Okay? So I am a real person. So therefore, I am a real knife thrower. Then we're going to change this. Am I a real knife thrower? Pose in somewhat different. Huh? Real knife thrower. Now, we have to establish two things. And before we go to that, I do not recommend for beginners to throw live edge implements. Okay? Don't do it. It adds an extra layer of possibility for injury, and it limits the possibility of methods. Okay? Now, then we have to establish or examine what is a real knife. Okay? So if you look it up in the dictionary, you will know that you will come to a conclusion that knife is something with a cutting edge. It's a cutting edged tool, or a tool with a cutting edge. Tool or weapon, probably. Okay, so by dictionary, that is a real knife. Okay, so the question is, can I throw this? Yep, very sure I can. Okay, but then there is a problem with this particular, or we have to, when we examine the question, we come to a secondary question. Since this is a real knife, which is a live edge, right? But in throwing circles, this is not a real throwing knife. This is a real throwing knife. It has a false edge, but it is made for throwing. So again, real knife thrower. Can I throw this? Yep. Actually, this is really easy to throw. So again, real knife thrower. Now I have to put it in, I have to mention here, or put it in here, or discuss it, that no tournament will allow you to throw a live edge knife. All tournaments will require you to throw a false edge knife. Most throwing knives are coming with a false edge. Yes, there are some high-end, specially made to order throwing knives that come with live edge and still durable enough to throw, but they are far and few between, and they are quite expensive too. So throwing a live edged knife does not make you a real knife thrower. Okay, so conclusion, right? What did this video prove, or what is the message in here? The message is, this is a real throwing knife. Okay, yes, there are people who would exclusively throw custom made throwing knives, or sometimes mass produced but specially made for knife throwing. there are people, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's great. Okay. Now there are people who would experiment, with other stuff. Um, and there are people who would only put on videos of they highly edited only the sticks. When the reality is, when it matters, it may not stick always. Okay? During your training, it may not always stick. Is dropping makes you less of a knife thrower than those who don't drop? No. The only time you're less of a knife thrower when you give up because I just dropped 3 on live or uncut video. Yes, I did. And I'm proud of it. Because I'm keep going. Okay? Now, the other reality is that not everybody can afford proper made for throwing knives. Some will have to do by other stuff that they can't throw. Twice. That's actually it. Now, this part would be the one that I cut out because this is embarrassing. That's better. That's it. Okay, so some people will have to throw other stuff. Some people will modify knives that were originally not made for throwing, but they do work quite well. Neither of them less or more. So anybody who would ask you this or tell you that you're not a real knife thrower, they are basically trolling you. I don't think they're worthy of your time. But in any way, what do I know? I'm just rambling here. Kind of hoped this video brought you a little bit of entertainment, maybe a little bit of laugh, or you wasted about 13 minutes of your life. But anyway, thanks for listening and see you in the next video.